Hey, fellow babies. Apologies for my cold and cough. I may cough while I'm talking, but thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you are watching it real time, it's because you're either a Patreon patron, and we appreciate your patronage, or because you are a subscriber to our YouTube channel. We appreciate that as well. Or if you have done neither of those, or even if you have done both of those, you can link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, and we get paid by Amazon. Costs you nothing. So please check the instructions in the show description, and it'll help you figure out how to get money so Shane can keep filming these things. Today's question from SIFTD from ZN Trip. It has been reported that the negotiations between FIFA and EA are renewing their contract or deadlocked. If the contract is not renewed and expires in a few years, which is next year, by the way, the end of 22, what will both parties do next? Can EA continue a successful franchise without the FIFA license? Will FIFA be able to find a better deal with another publisher? All right, so the key to this deal is that it's an exclusive. And FIFA is posturing. Now, it's possible that FIFA is this stupid. I don't think they are, but it's possible that they are so stupid that they think that there is somebody who's going to step up and pay them more than EA pays, and that company doesn't exist. But remember, I said this is an exclusive. So these are my numbers. EA will not validate these. You'll not find these published anywhere. It's just what I think. I think EA pays about 17% of revenue from all its FIFA games to the various participants in the FIFA value chain. So FIFA, UEFA, English Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, all the different players. So when they get all done, they have, I'll use nice round numbers, they have $2 billion in revenue from FIFA and FIFA Ultimate Team a year, and FIFA Mobile and whatever else they've got. And they pay out, $340 million to all the various constituencies. FIFA gets about 8% of that. That's my number again. All I know from EA is that their royalty they pay to everybody is in line with the royalties paid by other publishers, which is typically 15, so I rounded it up to 17, because in line it's not below. And that FIFA gets less than half. That's all I know. So I assigned 17 and 8. So FIFA gets about $160 million a year for an exclusive license. Now, according to EA, FIFA wants more. They did not tell me how much more, they just said more. So let's say they wanted to go from 160 to 200. And EA said no. And according to EA, FIFA wants to give EA fewer rights from that license. So EA's decision is accept the license at 200, my number. And what do you get? You get to keep using the FIFA name, and you get a World Cup game every 4 years. And let's just say the World Cup game does about $200 million in revenue every 4 years. Or walk away from the license and save $160 million now, and you lose the World Cup every 4 years, so $50 million a year. You're still $110 million better off. And question, do you lose any FIFA sales? Probably not, because I don't think people buy the game because it's called FIFA. They buy the game because it plays. It plays soccer the way they want to play it, with all the 12,000 professional athletes you can play in that game, and all the stadiums and all the leagues, and you can play Liverpool versus Manchester United, and if that's what you want to play, those guys are still part of the deal. So I would say...
Wait, so they wouldn't lose the players?
Nope.
Oh.
Just FIFA. So I think that EA is willing to walk away. But, I'm back to what I said in the beginning. This is an exclusive license. So if EA walks, FIFA loses $160 million a year. And unless somebody's willing to step up and pay $160 million a year, FIFA loses money. So a lot of you would say, well, Take-Two will do it, except they don't have a soccer game. And let's give them superhuman speed. In 3 years, they'll have one. They're not going to pay $160 million a year for 3 years, hoping they get a soccer game, and then $160 million a year after that when they're competing with EA's game. And they might be lucky if they do 200 or 300 million in sales. They would lose money for the next 10 years trying to build that game up. And you can say, well, how about Konami? Well, Konami's games 4x4 Evo has been out there forever. It's not a very good game. So putting the FIFA name on it, so what? Is the game going to get better? No. In fact, they'll have less money to spend on the game because they're paying $160 million royalty. So no, I don't think they do it. So what is the solution? Well, if EA is serious about walking away, FIFA needs to get serious as well. And I think the right solution that both parties can agree to is make the license non-exclusive. So EA, they could say to EA, okay, instead of you paying us $200, how about if you pay us $160 and we license to other people? And that's a starting point for the negotiation. And I think EA would say, we're paying you $160 for exclusive, we'll pay you $100 for non-exclusive. But on those terms, now FIFA only needs to get $60 million from other people. And my guess is they'll probably settle somewhere in between. EA will pay $140 a year for non-exclusive, and 4x4 Evo will pay $20 and call it 4x4 FIFA. And Take-Two will start a FIFA game in 3 or 4 years and pay $20 million a year. And FIFA will have more units and more people buying their game and playing their game, and better advertising, and kind of run in place and get the same result. Now, if you don't think EA is serious about walking away, they walked away from NCAA football. Same thing happened. They had the NCAA contract, and the schools started getting greedy. And so the Big Ten, which I think is now called the Big 12, I'm not sure, but the Big Ten pulled out, and next thing you know, the Pac-12 pulled out, and they were losing, and I think the SEC pulled out, and next thing you know, they didn't have anybody who was going to compete for the national championship. So they just dropped college football. And that was 5 years ago, and now they're getting college football back. Guess what? The parties came back, because NCAA used to probably collect around 30, 40, 50 million bucks a year from EA, and that went to zero. And zero isn't as good as 30 million bucks. So FIFA's going to figure out zero is worse than 160, and realistically, maybe they can get 20 from Konami and 20 from Take-Two, but 40 isn't as good as 160. So my guess is they're going to reach an agreement. The clock ticks until December 31st, 22, and I asked EA this question: if you put out FIFA 23 in September of 22, are you able to sell it with the name FIFA on it on January 1st, 23? And they said, good question, we don't know. So my guess is they aren't, and they won't make the next version of the game called FIFA. So you're going to know when they start talking about next year's game if they've reached an agreement. You'll know because the press will pick up. Okay, thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor. And if you are a Patreon patron and watching on SIFTD.net, we appreciate it. If you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel and paying up for that, then thank you so much. It's keeping us in macaroni and cheese. If you have done neither of those, or even if you have, please remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. Pretty easy to do. You just have to re-up it every month so that we get paid, and that the instructions are in the show description. And at a minimum, you must follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.